Welcome to Pretentious Film Majors. I'm Zachary Shevich here with writer-director of Not Fade Away, David Chase, who's also creator of the acclaimed HBO show, The Sopranos. And despite your long history and expansive resume, this is actually your debut feature film.
Expensive resume?
Expansive.
Oh, it was expensive.
Could be a bit of both. Right. So I was wondering, there's, I'm sure, a lot of similarities, but what are the major differences when approaching a feature film as opposed to all of your work in television?
Well, the technology is the same. The crew is the same. Only television's smaller generally. It's the same process, and it's the same. It's the same film. It's making film. I would say that a movie it takes more stamina because it just lasts longer, and the writing of it is different. The story construction is different. Writing an hour episode of television is different than writing a feature.
So when did you first come up with the idea for Not Fade Away? What sparked your interest in the story?
A long time ago, 30 years ago. A friend of mine from when I was a kid came to visit me, and he was a musician. We were both musicians together, and I by that time was working, and he was still very much like an adolescent. And I wanted to do a movie like that about these two guys who had been bandmates and who now got back together again as adults. But I wrote about 10 pages of that, and then I got sidetracked. But I don't remember what. But then I thought I always wanted to do something about this musical group that I'd been involved with, and how self-deluded we were.
The film is unlike a lot of other music films in that it doesn't necessarily show success.
No, it doesn't.
How intentional was that, and what do you think that allowed you to do?
That was the intention. The intention was, I don't know about anybody in this room, but a lot of people now, women and men, but back then more men and guys, tried their, once the Beatles hit the Ed Sullivan show, the sales of guitars went through the roof, and everybody wanted to be in a band, and everybody wanted to be the Beatles, everybody wanted to be the Stones, but as we know, most of them didn't make it. And I wanted to make a movie about all those people who tried and failed.
So what's your musical background? What instruments have you?
I played drums and then bass. I wasn't a very good, I was an okay drummer, but a bad bass player.
So the music in the film is really reflective of the times. Some of the most iconic rock names are in the film. What were some of your personal favorites that made it into the film? What were some of your favorite songs of the era?
Pretty Ballerina by Left Bank. That's one of my favorites. Van Morrison is one of my favorites. Everybody in there. The Stones are my favorite. But of the songs in particular, Pretty Ballerina, Tell Me, I like a lot. I love the song Bo Diddley. That's enough.
Like The Sopranos, this film is set in suburban New Jersey. Mm-hmm. I was wondering whether that comes from more of a interest in the area or a familiarity. What sparks your?
It's a familiarity. I just sort of know the area, and I know the feeling. And I think for this particular band and this particular movie, the fact that they are very close to New York City, which was the capital of popular music at that time, radio and music and the recording industry, the fact that the Emerald City was so close and right across the river has something to do with their mentality.
The film also lets you work with James Gandolfini. How early in the process did you know you wanted him involved? And
I was pretty far along in the process. I was working on the screenplay, and it wasn't really coming together for me. It wasn't clicking. And after about 8 months of slogging through it, I pictured him as the father. I decided to picture him as the father, and it all started to make sense to me. I started to have an idea, more of a vision of the entire movie, not just those scenes, but the entire movie.
Looks like he just got off the boat at Ellis Island.
And there's a few names in the cast who are primarily known for their comedic work. Do you have any reservations when casting certain people, like Brad Garrett or Lisa Lampanelli, or was it a confident decision based on the characters?
No, I had no. I mean, they came in and they auditioned. No, Brad didn't. Yes, he did. I think he went on tape out in L.A. And Lisa came in, and once I've seen them do it, and they've done it in the room well, and they make it come alive, then I don't doubt it anymore. I had no fear about them.
So, how true to your own experience and your childhood is the film?
How true to my Eh, It's true to like what my feelings were at the time. It's really not true in terms of events, but it's the way I felt about music and about love and war and all kinds of things.
So, could you tell us a little bit about the decision to include so many musical numbers, and there's that dance sequence at the end? Did you view the film almost as a part musical, or do you think the music was just necessary for the story?
I sort of view it as partly a musical. It's like a needle drop musical.
The star of the film, his experience in the film is definitely identifiable for a young artist. Do you feel that a lot of people can relate to that story, or do you think
I
it's
hope.
kind of
How
personal?
many people are young artists? I don't know. I hope they can relate to it. I'm not sure. We'll find out, I guess.
So, do you have any future projects on the horizon?
I do have a few future projects, but nothing I can really talk about at this point.
Well, thank you very much for
Thank you
talking
very
to
much.
us.
Thanks a lot.